You're very welcome to Mayo GAA TV on this Sunday afternoon. And you know what? A little bit overcast, but certainly a nice day for football. Not too much wind as we stand here at Elverys MacHale Park, the home of Mayo football. And we're looking forward to two great games in the Connacht Gold Senior Club Football Championship. 2 and 4 o'clock throw-ins this afternoon. And as I said, two great games in prospect. If they match up to last night's games played here at Elverys MacHale Park, that I'm sure lots of you were tuned into, well, we're in for a treat. Let's go to our analysts to have a look ahead to today's action. I'm delighted to be joined here for the first games by Martin Kearney and Declan O'Reilly to look at what should be two mouth-watering ties. Martin, we were just watching Westport warm up here, and of course they play new kids on the block, the Neale, today. It's a big day for the Neale GAA club, and I'm not dismissing how big it is for Westport either. But we were just chatting off air how big a day it is after coming up from intermediate to be here in the last 8 of the Senior Club Championship.
Yeah, there's always a danger, I think, with a team like the Neale of patronising by saying, that they're lucky to be here, etc. It's a fantastic day for them. Like when you think the effort that has got into actually getting to the quarterfinals. Okay, admittedly they got through, I think, by 1 point margin over Belmullet, like in the context of qualifying for this. But to have moved up from intermediate to senior and to have performed so well in the group stages and to be here today, I think it's marvellous, a marvellous step forward for the Neale and for that South Mayo region in general. And I would expect them to be very, very competitive. When you look at them last week, they played against Ballahidreen. They were dead and buried at half time, and yet when you look at the scores in the second half against Ballahidreen, they outscored Ballahidreen by a point. So they're a team with loads of resilience, loads of never say die in them, and they're a team that I think no matter how it goes today, they will battle to the last whistle.
Yeah, Martin, we nearly got sucked into a play there while we were chatting with Westport warming up here. But Declan, it is true. I mean, it's a wide open championship. This was discussed, I know, last night as well at length as RTE covered the two big games. But Mayo is now wide open, and when you see the games that are here today, first up Westport and the Neale, as we said, it really is Ballynana more to come. It will be a new name in the Moclair Cup, we know, after last night, but we have some very interesting ties to come.
We do, and it's been a cracking championship so far, hugely enjoyable. I suppose the short time frame, and particular the fact that we have our county fellas playing fresh, that they haven't given their all to the county scene just yet. Maybe that'll come later. The two teams that have dominated the club scene in the last decade, both Castlebar Mitchells and Ballintubber, they're now gone, so that means that we're left with 6. Two cracking quarter-finals last night. Really enjoyed them. Brafey got their win, they pulled away, I suppose, well. The sending off had a big effect on that, and David Drake's injury. Knockmore, to me, were hugely impressive last night. They looked like a team that really mean business, and they're certainly going to have high hopes for the future. But we will come to today. There are 4 teams playing today, and I really think that deep down all these teams believe that they have a shout, but they have to get over a quarter-final first, and this is Westport versus the Neale. Westport, I suppose you could say, are the form team so far. They're young, we know all about them, we know about their underage success, we know about their intermediate success. They've a lot of high hopes. They've gone with a youth policy. They've integrated some experienced and powerful men like Kevin Kane in the full forward line in particular, and they play a good brand of football. The one thing about them, I saw them against Brafey and I saw them against Castlebar Mitchells, they got a bit nervous when they got towards the finish line. That's one thing that they're going to have to shake off if they want to progress. But I think the belief that they have, I think we'd expect to see a fluent game today, and I think that Westport could come out winners today.
You mentioned, Declan, I know off air as well when we were chatting, there's some very young players in that Neale side. Now I know Westport are a young team too, but for a team like that to have come up, as we said, from last year, they have these young players. This season has been a success already for them, hasn't it?
Absolutely, and we've got to be very careful, as Martin says, that we don't be in any ways patronising towards the Neale. The Neale are here on merit. They're a senior football team. They just happen to be our intermediate champions from last year. They're here because they deserve to be here. They play some good football. I happened to see them in the first Michael Welch game, actually. The first games from lockdown football. There was a huge crowd over there. Castlebar Mitchells, which is more or less the second team, played the Neale in a lovely open brand of football. But what caught my eye that night was the performance of Tommy Conroy. He was absolutely outstanding. He scored 10 points from 7 from play and 3 from frees, and he's just a delight to watch. He's going to get huge attention. He's a rising star in the Mayo ranks. Obviously James Horn has him in there now, and he's going to be a super player for Mayo. He already is a really top class footballer. Other young players to watch out for that you've mentioned are the likes of Fergal Sweeney and Zach Ferrick. They're lads that are just out of minor, and it's a great achievement for them to be on that team, and I've no doubt that the Neale are going to give everything that they have. They're delighted to be here. They're certainly here to compete. I'm just not sure if they're going to be up to the standard that Westport are going to set here today.
So Martin, let's talk a little bit about Westport then. So obviously they were All-Ireland Intermediate champions not too long ago.
Yes.
So again, a young team, a team that would have big designs now after watching the games last night, I'm sure as well. So tell me about some of the key battles we look out for here, or the key players on the Westport side.
Well, in general, first of all, Angelina, Westport are a very, very pacey, inventive team. They play lovely football. They move very well. They keep great width to their game. And the guys to look out for really, well, Lee Keegan anchors the team at centre back. He doesn't go forward on the basis of what I've seen so far in the championship games too often. And he's flanked by 2 very good wing backs in Paul Lambert and James Walsh. Now, at midfield, I think Brian O'Malley and Owen O'Loughlin have been very, very good at securing possession, but it's the forwards that catch the eye. The forwards are very fast, very, very creative, and can score when given the opportunity. I've been particularly impressed last weekend, for example, with Mark Moore, and I thought he was outstanding at centre half forward. And Kevin Kane wasn't in the opening game against Brafey. He scored something like a goal and 2 points in the opening 10 minutes before he sustained an injury. And like for a guy kind of once poacher come gamekeeper, whatever you like to call it, in full backline to full forward line, he's been very, very effective. And of course Declan and I are very, very keen on seeing Killian Kilkelly. Brian, the father, was born across the road. We played with Brian in the past, and he's been very, very good for them. But all told, I would you look at that in the sub bench, they have the likes of Fionn McDonough to come on if he's seated, but to me they are the team. They are hot favourites for today, and they have earned the right to be named as favourites.
Okay, unless we want to start playing, lads, I think we better hand back up to our commentary position. Mike Finnerty is on for the first of the games today here, and Declan and Martin will be joining him in just a couple of moments.
Yeah, thanks very much, Angelina. Good afternoon, everyone, and you are welcome to Elverys MacHale Park in Castlebar. Well, as you can see, we are pretty much ready to go. Referee John Walker from Kilcommon is missing just one vital piece of equipment, a size 5, and once that has been retrieved, well, then this third of the Connacht Gold Mayo Senior Club Football Championship quarter-finals will be ready to go. Westport wearing their traditional sky blue and navy shorts, the Neale in their traditional colours as well. One late change on the Westport side to tell you about. Fionn McDonough starts, no major surprise there. He wears 23, with Pat Lambert, the player who's dropped out. And the Neale, by the looks of things, have also sprung a late change. Number 23, Robert Holian, has started at midfield alongside, certainly for the throw-in anyway, Dara Moran, as we get off and running here at a deserted MacHale Park in Castlebar. Again, the government guidelines and restrictions around COVID-19 meaning that this quarter-final doubleheader played in front of an empty stadium, pretty much just the extended squads, backroom teams, match officials and media here to watch these teams do battle for a place in next weekend's county semi-final against Brafey, who of course ran out very comfortable winners in the end last night against Ballahadreen. As Angelina mentioned, a little overcast, but conditions absolutely perfect for a game. Little or no breeze as Lee Keegan picks out Kevin Kane and Westport start moving down the field. Ball clipped forward by Luke Tunney, runs all the way through to David Moran, and a first touch of the day for the Neale goalkeeper Keith Henley. Well, what a difference a year has made for the Neale. Just 12 months ago they were battling for a place in the county intermediate final. Julie went and beat Ballyhonus last October, and fast forward to the 2020 season and they have negotiated their way, admittedly in the end by the skin of their teeth last weekend, but they have found their way in a county senior quarter final. First time the club have ever reached this stage of the competition in their long and storied history, but very much up against it today. Westport are the overwhelming 10-1 on favourites to go through to the last four again, as Owen McLaughlin drills that ball in low. He was looking for one of Killian Kilkelly or Colm Moran, intercepted instead by Stephen Moran. and the Neale will have a free just on their own 45-metre line. Man on the ball is Stephen Conroy, very accomplished rugby player as well. Drills it up the right-hand side to Tommy Conroy. He's the go-to man in the Neale forward line. He's away from Doyle, he's away from Keegan, flicks it inside. Free given. Referee John Walker was playing an advantage. Declan, a first glimpse of Tommy Goals Conroy in full flight.
Yeah, he's the man, he's the go-to man, he's their top scorer, he's their main man. I see Ben Doyle has picked him up for a match up there. It could be quite good. I thought John Walker could have let the play develop a bit there, because Tommy Conroy looked to give that pass back. It didn't go to its intended target, but one of the Neale picked it up at the edge of the small square, and I think there was a goal chance. They'll be a little bit disappointed he didn't let it continue, but it's an ideal chance for the Neale to get the scoreboard ticking at the start.
So Tommy Conroy's run and fouled, and now Shawnee Cosgrove to kick the free. He's his team's top scorer in the senior championship, and a nice straightforward one to start. Shawnee Cosgrove nudges the Neale out in front on a ground they've come to know and love over the last 7-8 years, scene of their historic county junior title win back in 2012, also where they turned over Ballyhonus last season. And Shawnee Cosgrove has kicked the outsiders into the lead. Paddy O'Malley got that kick out away eventually. This is Colm Moran, 3 points, all well taken last weekend against Castlebar Mitchells. Killian Kilkelly unable to combine with him on this occasion. Moran again, he's got 2 defenders for company, Brian O'Halloran and David Moran. And eventually the pressure tells. The Neale just closed ranks there, got in around the ball carrier, and Cosgrove has the confidence to go all the way back to Micheál Varley, the well-built Neale number 3. This is Stephen Conroy, and that's a foul by Kevin Kane.
Yeah, it's been a good start so far, Mike, from the Neale. They look very much up for this, and they've got 2 turnovers there now against the Westport forwards. They'll be happy the way they started.
Well, no doubt, if the Neale are to have any chance of making a game of this or giving themselves a fighting chance, they will have to keep it very tight in these early stages. We all know about Westport's pace and quality up front, and when they do turn ball over and break at pace, they are very difficult to stop, as Tommy Conroy again gets on the ball, and he has been fouled. And once more, Ben Doyle it was who was struggling to cope with Conroy's pace and movement. And Martin, I know you've been very impressed with what you've seen from Tommy Conroy already this season, and he has started very, very promisingly.
Oh, he started very promising, very confidently. Like the 2 possessions he has won have been on either side of the goals. Right corner forward in the first instance, in the left corner position that time. Gives a short ball here now, so we may see him get the return ball.
Conroy to Cosgrove, the double act in the Neale forward line, but it was just a little too tight. It allowed Owen McLaughlin and friends to get in around the Neale forward. Free against him for overcarrying, and Paddy O'Malley goes all the way across the field to Fionn McDonough, wearing 23, but starts in the half forward line in place of Pat Lambert. No major surprise that Martin Calvey and Martin Connolly decided to make that late change, as the ball is touched on the ground by Micheál Varley. Varley, as expected, has paired off with Kevin Kane.
Yeah, that's a battle of the strong men there, Mike, anyway, for sure. I think that was anticipated. He touched the ball on the ground. Kevin Kane was bringing the attention to John Walker. I think Varley knew it straight away.
Yeah, what's interesting actually about Westport, the way they're playing, they're kicking the ball. They're letting the ball travel very, very quickly into their forward line. There's very little lateral hand passing. It's direct, very incisive football.
It is, and they're a lovely team to watch that way. What they'll be looking for, Martin, is a bit more stickability from the full forward line inside.
So a free then from a very tricky angle. This is Killian Kilkelly. Didn't do a whole lot wrong against the Mitchells last weekend. He's left that short though, gathered by Keith Henley at the butt of the upright, and he gets it away as quickly as he can from danger. They've got a very tried and trusted system, the Neale. They know exactly what they want to do. Everyone on the same page as they come out with the ball, and it's Conroy to Aidan O'Sullivan. He's the Neale captain, faced by the Westport wingback Paul Lambert, and Lambert, former Mayo under-20, former county minor, just wins that ball back at his leisure. Here's Keegan. Owen McLaughlin just striding past him. Nobody from the Neale has gone with him as McLaughlin passes into Neale territory. This is McDonough looking to roll it forward for Killian Kilkelly. Gets chance to lift his head, to gather his thoughts, and Killian Kilkelly drills over the equaliser. outstanding last weekend against Castlebar Mitchells. And he has started here, Martin Carney, impressively as well.
Lovely dummy. Sold a lovely dummy that time. Got onto his right foot, just looked up, kicked it over the bar from about 30 yards out from an angle. But that's a very, very confident score.
Latest scoreline from the Junior Championship quarter-final. Kilmaine lead Arda 117 to 9 points. That's a latest scoreline for you. That Junior Championship now very much at the business end as well. And also an update from the Senior Championship relegation playoff. It's currently Charlestown 110, Claremorris 2-7. That is level pegging as Ben Doyle attacks down the left-hand side. Colm Moran again. He's got out in front of Stephen Moran. This is another chance for Westport to open the Neale up. It's Kilkelly, it's Kane. And it was a last-ditch block by Brian O'Halloran that diverts the ball out for a 45. Well, they open the Neale up very quickly with a combination of pace and precision. Colm Moran, Killian Kilkelly and Kane unlucky not to score his second goal of the championship.
I think there was an extra pass in it. I'm not sure if Kelly, if he needed to give that
perfectly
pass.
Agree with you, Declan. What's more, actually, had Kane scored that, it would have been disallowed because he was in the small rectangle.
Yeah, I think the wrong decision was taken by young Kelly that time. I think maybe he should have fisted the ball over the bar, but it's a sign of things to come from Westport, the way that they can carry that ball, a direct ball inside, as you've already said, Martin, but runners off the shoulder, pace everywhere.
No, it's delightful football to watch, actually. It's so kind of fluent and great understanding of each other's play.
Paddy O'Malley drives the 45 well wide. It is well within his locker. There was no issue with distance or anything like it, but never got a hold of it, and it remains a point apiece. 9 minutes gone. It's the third of the Connacht Gold Mayo Senior Club Football Championship quarter-finals. Remember, Knockmore and Brafey already through to next weekend's semi-finals, and coming up later on at 4 o'clock live here on Mayo GAA TV, we will have Ballina Stephenites against Ahamore. On the ball for the Neale is Fergal Sweeney, their young, exciting centre forward, but he just left that ball sitting up invitingly in front of a Westport man. All of a sudden it was gone. Won back again by Dan Kelly. And now a chance for Pádraig Welsh to drive the Neale forward. But Pádraig Welsh, who's missed a lot of football recently due to injury, is driven backwards again. And once more, once the Neale bring the ball into the tackle, Declan, they are more often than not leave without it.
Yeah, they've done it 3 times now into the midfield, in particular there into Brian O'Malley and Owen McLaughlin, and the sheer physicality of the Westport midfield is making a big difference. I think the Neale got to be a bit smarter, got to go around that blockade in the middle and use the space in front of them, and particularly I think they should be looking to isolate Tommy Conroy inside. That's where the space is, and hit him with more ball.
Yeah, well, they have Tommy Conroy isolated inside, but to actually effectively utilise him, they've got to let the ball into him. Yeah. They're trying to run the ball through the lines, and as you said, Declan, on 3 occasions they have run into trouble. They've turned the ball over, and they've given Westport the opportunity now to add to their tally.
Well, it's interesting to note that the Neale manager Owen Hughes has gone for physique and strength by picking Robert Holian and Pádraig Welsh ahead of Zach Fearick and Oisin Connolly. By the looks of things, they're the 2 men that have been left out of the Neale's first 15 as Killian Kilkelly steps up to this free. No issues there. He's a really, really nice free taker.
Very confident strike actually with his right foot, yeah.
And Westport lead again.
His dad, Brian, who played with Declan and myself, was a left-footed kicker, but this young lad, I'll tell you, it must be the mother he's taking it from.
That, in fact, is the lead for Westport for the first time. 11 minutes in as Robert Holian gets under this ball and hangs on to it. But Aidan O'Sullivan went one way, the ball the other, and Brickenden had the legs on both of the Neale men to get there first. And now James Welsh, Keegan again, just ambles forward, knew exactly when to make his move. This is Kilkelly, as always, available as an outlet. Owen McLaughlin, as the Neale try to funnel men back inside their own 45 and block up all those channels for the Westport runners to get into. McDonough on the loop, back as far as Mark Moran. Really caught the eye in round 3 last weekend. Ball threaded through by Kevin Kane into Colm Moran's corner. Bounces off one tackle, makes the angle, and easy for Henley with Aidan O'Sullivan there to take the dropping ball. O'Sullivan out as far as Stephen Conroy. the Neale, who reached this stage of the competition with one win in the group. That win over Garrymore, their first ever in the senior championship. They've lost the ball again on their way out. This is Owen McLaughlin. His brother Oisín held in reserve once more today as that ball comes off the knee of Fergal Sweeney. Scrap on for possession. Runs out as far as Fionn McDonough. Back to Killian Kilkelly, who again sets himself and takes aim, and not for the first time. Kicking into a very, very slight breeze. Westport leave it short, and the Neale will try and build from the back.
Yeah, they'll be very disappointed with those last two kicks. There was no excuse, because there's no breeze to talk of at all, really, Mike, and they left them short into the keeper. Is exactly what you should not do.
Aidan O'Sullivan wearing 10, but spending quite a bit of time back around the half-back line, and that was a lackadaisical pass. McLaughlin's got it back again. Danger here. Chance for Colm Moran. Half blocked. Hennelly dives on it. Bit of a scramble on the goal line.
Bit of goalkeeping.
And the Neale get away with it. But Hennelly had to be very, very agile and alert. Moran looking to send Kane, or Owen McLaughlin was on his way to join in as well. But Hennelly managed to get there in the nick of time and avert the danger as Stephen Conroy knocks up an old-fashioned up and under for Robert Holian to chase, but Brian McDermott got there ahead of him, got a hand in the air, back goes Brickenden, and now Paddy O'Malley got it back again for Westport. Declan, fair to say, 13 minutes gone, not a whole pile of shape or rhythm to this quarter-final just yet.
No, I think both teams are in the settling-in period, but it looks like Westport are nearly going to open up. They're creating some chances in there. They've left a few after them, but Westport, they're dispossessing the Neale quite easily, especially around in the middle third. When the Neale are coming out with that ball, they're giving it straight back to Westport. Westport are winning hard for that, or they're working hard for that, should I say, and I think Westport could open up just yet.
This is Mark Moran just drifting around that half forward line, trying to pull the Neale defence out of position. Lays it back to Paul Lambert, and once again the Westport eye not in, and those scoring chances that Westport are creating and not taking starting to climb.
They'll be very disappointed in that. They've left a goal and 3 points behind them, actually, with very promising attacks, but the end result has been poor. Again, they're scything through the Neale defence. Neale are playing the ball they're far too ponderous around the middle of the pitch. They're taking the ball into tackle too often, whereas Westport are much more direct, but the end product for them has let them down so far.
That's all that's let them down so far now. That is a huge part of it. Obviously, the end product and getting the scores is really what it's all about. They'll be disappointed with that. The 1-3, that goal chance, really, they'll be disappointed there. That was one that lacked decision making, and I think Westport will be disappointed with the fact that they just haven't got the scores on the board yet.
Well, they're spending an awful lot of time inside the Neale half. The 2017 All-Ireland Intermediate Champions. Here they come again. It is Keegan.
There's a Keegan special.
And he just leant back, let fly with the outside of his right. It was a sweet score from Lee Keegan, and well worth another look. Once he got it, Martin, you could nearly start writing it down.
He knew. He's just trying to tell the other lads up front, this is what you do, boys. He's 45 metres out, just looks up, slices the ball over the bar. Beautiful, beautiful strike. But again, like his forward line up to now haven't been productive enough, haven't been getting the scores. Keegan probably has just set down a marker for them.
Couple of full-time results for you from the Intermediate Championship. In the relegation playoff, Borrashule have beaten Swinford 16 points to a goal and 9, so Borrashule will be intermediate again next season. Swinford must go to the relegation final, and it is Kilchuma who have advanced to the intermediate semi-final. They've beaten Crossmalina 2-14 to 1-13 as John Walker, our referee, blows for the first water break of the afternoon here in Castlebar. Westport leading the Neale by 3 points to 1. It's a bit like last weekend, Declan, without the crowd to create the atmosphere. It's all a bit surreal, it's all a bit eerie. But what have you made of what you've seen so far? Has it lived up to your expectation?
Not really. I think it might do. I think Westport are the dominant team out there. There's no, in the middle third in particular, they're winning all the battles that have to be won. The Neale have really only had one attack at the very first score, where they let a ball into Tommy Conroy, who burned Ben Doyle for pace. They got the free out of it and they got their score. Westport, as we've already said, and Martin has alluded to, have probably left 1-3 behind them, but they have all the chances and they are opening up the Neale at will. The pace of their midfield, I think Owen McLaughlin is turning into a really good footballer. He's dominating that middle sector, and the pace that he has, he really covers good ground, obviously to match up with his physicality as well. The one thing, and it's the obvious one, is that Westport will be disappointed that they haven't got the scores on the board, but I'm sure their management team will be telling them, keep doing what we're doing, lads, bit of composure on the last kick and our scores will come.
We're just watching Keith Henley make that dramatic goal line save. Martin, thought just striking me, Westport, they're a young team. They're 10-1 on to win. Everybody's been telling them all week long that they're going to go to a county semi-final. How do you think they're dealing with that pressure in the first 15 minutes?
Yeah, it's a difficult one for them. As you say, they're young. I mean, this is supposed to be formality today. Everybody's telling them it's to be a formality. I mean, bookies, everyone. But at the same time, their general play has been very good, Mike. Their general play is the end product. Is their scoring, their inability to kind of finish off very good moves is what maybe has plagued them up to now. But there's loads of time left. They have found their rhythm. All they have to get right is their finishing.
So we're up and running again. 16 minutes into the first half. Tommy Conroy has once more drawn a foul, and I think John Walker's patience has worn out. Ben Doyle has fouled Tommy Conroy once too often, and this is an issue now for Doyle, because much like he did a few weeks ago against Charlestown when he was marking Paul Towie, he's a very, very tenacious sort of cornerback, Martin, and now he's on a yellow, and now all of a sudden he needs to be very careful.
He needs to be careful. We saw it last night, actually, in the Balhadreen Brafey game. We saw exactly a similar situation. Like, I mean, there's only 15, 16 minutes gone on this, and already now he's on a yellow, so he needs to just kind of be that little bit more disciplined and thoughtful in the tackle.
That's a second point and a second free for Shawnee Cosgrove. He's the Neale's only scorer. In fact, that score from Cosgrove just stops a run of 3 Westport points without reply, as Ben Doyle, the aforementioned Ben Doyle, gets out to win a mark from the restart, and Westport move forward again. McLaughlin lays it off to Lambert. Kilkelly, again, he times his run so well. He gets out in front, and that is a flawless finish from Killian Kilkelly. His movement is a joy to watch. We mentioned earlier he can kick equally well off either foot. And Declan, I know Martin mentioned Brian earlier. That was a Brian Kilkelly special.
Yeah, you could close your eyes and go back in the years. You'd say exactly like his dad used to do for Castlebar Mitchells. But that's what Westport are trying to do. They have the runners. At that time when Lambert kicked the ball in, there was options left and right, but he went for the direct kick. Kilkelly timed his run to perfection, won the ball, had a choice of which foot he was going to go on, turned on to the left, and a lovely score. That's what Westport have been trying to do up to this.
So double scores in the quarter-final of the Senior Championship. Westport starting now to settle into this rhythm, starting to settle into this familiar pattern. Good pass by McDonough to Colin Moran. Keegan takes it on. Keegan just wide. Well, Lee Keegan is getting forward more in the last few weeks for Westport than he has in donkey's years. He has a completely different role this season. He has been let off the leash quite a bit by Martin Calvey, and once he comes into the line at pace, they're finding it very difficult to cope with him.
He looks in great shape.
He's in great shape.
He's in great shape physically.
In fairness, he kicked that ball across the goals. He hit it with his left foot, but he gave 2 lovely passes about the receiving end of a pass in that. But his movement and the pace he's moving at, simply the Neale had no answer to it.
The break has done him the world of good. But again, it's another goal chance that Westport have left behind them.
Westport here now pressing the Neale higher and higher, trying to put the squeeze on as last year's intermediate champions try to come out with the ball. Ball passed across by David Moran, picked up by Dara Moran. Moran again manages to spot a teammate in space. It's Fergal Sweeney, jumps in acrobatically ahead of Owen McLaughlin, but just look at the number of Westport men around him. Hadn't got time to think, let alone play the pass, and in the end it's forced by the Neale out over the line on the far side. It was Dan Kelly who had the misplaced pass, and now Westport will stream forward again as Colin Moran tries to go by his man, and ball touched on the
It looked like he overcarried the ball in the first place anyway, and then he wasn't sure what to do. And again, a good dispossession by the Neale that time. Very vocal over there in the stand. The Neale sub was right in front of them. They were happy with that.
Yeah, there's great pressure being applied though by Westport every time a Neale player gets the ball, and in particular Fergal Sweeney, who's a very, very talented footballer, has got possession a number of times, but he's absolutely suffocated by the Westport defence every time.
You'd have to admire the work rate of the whole Westport team, wouldn't you?
Oh, very much so. It's excellent.
Nice knockdown from Holian to O'Sullivan. Here's Robert Holian again. He's a real old school battering ram full forward, and Holian off his left, nice and daintily pops it up and over the bar. Well, he's a throwback to the bomber Liston, is Robert Holian. Played most of his football for the Neale around the middle of the field. This season he's been parked in on the edge of the square anytime he's featured. And I know, Martin, I'm sure the memories came flooding back for you there as Robert Holian did his thing.
Yeah, Bomber with a few late nights behind him, I think. But no doubt about it, that time Holian got in possession, won the ball in the first place, and then... there's a goal.
Kevin Kane. Well, he didn't manage to score a little earlier. He has this time. It's his second goal of this season's championship. Colm Moran with the delivery. When the ball came back off the post, first man to react was Kevin Kane, and he is certainly learning his trade very quickly as an inside forward.
He has, but he's been on the receiving end of some of those, and he said to us out in Brafey, Mike, when we were talking to him, actually it was over in Westport, he said that he's been picking up things that he's seen forwards do over the years, which is fair enough too. I was just remarking when that shot was taken that it's another wide actually for Westport. They're leaving a lot after them, but it came off the post. Kane was first to react, and in fairness, I know it's a cliche, but that goal was coming.
It certainly was. The Neale had a few close shaves in the first 20 minutes. One dramatic goal line block, another scramble that Keith Henley got back on the line ahead of the forward to rescue as well. But that time, no denying Kevin Kane. And now the raging hot favourites Westport have opened up a 4-point advantage. It's the biggest lead they've had in the game so far. And the Neale, we look to them for a response. Cosgrove gives it forward to Conroy. Doyle just backs off a little. Aidan O'Sullivan had his back to Tommy Conroy, but he did well to recover. Shawnee Cosgrove, he's got time, he's got space, and he has delivered an exquisite finish. Shawnee Cosgrove, that is now 19 points in the senior championship for Shawnee Cosgrove.
That's a beautiful score by Shawnee Cosgrove. Again, I thought for a moment the move was breaking down, but Cosgrove got the ball about 30 yards or 40 yards out at an angle and just sliced it over his left foot. That's a lovely bit of football.
Yeah, it was a sweet strike.
So the Neale hit back through Shawnee Cosgrove. That is their second point from play. Leaves a kick of the ball between the teams. The Neale looking to go where no team from the club have ever gone before, to a county senior semi-final. That would be against Brafey next weekend. But right now it is advantage Westport. Cosgrove seems to be here, there and everywhere. Shawnee Cosgrove, he's the link man out to the wing back Daniel Kane. His brother Dylan has scored 2 goals already in the championship. He's among the Neale subs as the Neale forward Fergal Sweeney is pushed over by Brian McDermott, and that will be a free in to the Neale.
I thought it was a soft enough free actually.
It was, but I think it was a needless free because he went into his back and he didn't need to, because the ball was going over both of their heads. He could have just turned and gone onto it, and I think he gave away a soft one.
Oh, very much so. Again, okay, so a distance out, maybe 40 metres out or so. I'm not sure if Sean Cosgrove was going to go short or go for the score.
I think
but he's kicking well. He's kicking well.
He's looking to go short, but he's not got any runners, so he's going to have a go. It might be just outside his range, maybe. We'll see.
Shawnee steals a few yards.
He has it, has he?
He's crept forward, and that one just pushed the far side of the post and wide. I know a lot of people online this afternoon watching the doubleheader here live from MacHale Park in Castlebar. Among them, John Welch, one of Mayo's most loyal and dedicated supporters. He's watching in hospital in Galway this Sunday afternoon. Sue and Mick send their best wishes to John. And also, we must wish a very happy birthday to Tom Carney of Mayo GAA TV, who I'm reliably informed celebrated a milestone birthday over the weekend. Happy 21st, Tom. As Mark Moran gives it down the line to Kevin Kane. Moran again. Lovely little show and go, sets his feet. And what about that from Mark Moran? Another one for his Instagram. That was beautifully done, and Westport are double scores ahead.
I believe he's more of a TikTok man than an Instagram man, Mike.
You're showing your age, Dick.
I'll explain what TikTok is after a while, Martin.
No, that's okay. I'm still using telephones that you have to twist the handle. Another time.
Feels like we've walked into a social media class here as Westport go along. Kevin Kane, Killian Kilkelly, Mark Moran. It's very easy on the eye. It is very easy to watch, and Mark Moran is starting to come more and more into this game, and he's just won a free. Well, there's no doubt about it. The goal from Kane has given Westport the confidence to just take it on and to try whatever comes into their heads, and the Neale now are coming under more and more pressure.
They're coming under more and more pressure, but the last score by Mark Moran actually was an absolute beauty, like a lovely bit of combined play with himself and Kevin Kane, and the dummy he sold before just nonchalantly putting it over the bar. The textbook.
We've seen that dummy solar before, haven't we? I think we saw two of them in Brafey against the Bitches last week. I think that's his signature move, and he can pull it off.
There must be a grand for those dummies at the moment. There's so many of them. Beautiful score.
That's another one for Killian Kilkelly. He just keeps that scoreboard ticking over, and now the gap is out to 5 points. Westport starting to open up some daylight. It's a lot closer in the Intermediate Championship quarter final. Latest scoreline from Island 80. It is Ballinrobe who lead Ardnaree by 4 points to 3 as Keith Henley puts his foot through that ball and pumps it out on top of big Robert Holian. He was pushed by Brickenden. Free to the Neale. Stephen Conroy directing operations inside to Shawnee Cosgrove, the playmaker. Conroy again. Just one man to aim at inside, Tommy Conroy, and he was well covered. He had Ben Doyle one side, he had this man, Brian O'Malley, the other. Westport have studied the tape. They know just how integral Conroy is to the Neale's attacking game plan, and once again they snuff out the danger as Owen McLaughlin sees it open up in front of him and just glides across the ground, but the pass towards Kevin Kane just slices off his boot, and that will run away harmlessly wide again. But the Neale, without Conroy showing and going and doing his thing, Declan, they're struggling to come up with a plan B.
Yeah, and like there is only so much Tommy can do. When the ball is going his way, he's doing very well, but Westport are often have a man in front of him to cut out that ball, and I'm just McLaughlin again, the stride, the way he covers the ground. He'll be very disappointed with the kick pass, but really he can cover ground immaculately.
Yeah, but the other thing that's noticeable at the moment, Mike, is that the energy levels on the Neale team are starting to fall quite a bit. The tracking that we saw earlier from them has just become non-existent.
He's called a mark there, but that's from a free. You can't have a mark from a free, but he's given them the mark, so that's a mistake from the referee.
And Kevin Kane has kicked it over the bar. Well, that's one for the Mayo GAA coaching officer Declan Riley to bring up at the next meeting of the CCC. Kevin Kane's kicked it wide anyway, so but I still think, John, you could bring it up with the North Board Secretary John Walker the next time you see him.
Yeah, I might have a word with John when I see him.
It's good to talk. So the wide from Kevin Kane, so from a scoreline point of view, all's well that ends well, but well spotted by Declan. As he said, you cannot call a mark from a free kick. So Keegan to Kane, the old 1-2. While it looked extremely pretty, it shouldn't have counted. 1-6 plays 4 points. Westport 5 to the good as we swing into the last few minutes of this first half in front of a deserted MacHale Park in Castlebar. But you wouldn't think it, judging from the noise coming from the Westport and Neale substitutes. They have certainly, by the sound of things, been given their instructions. Make as much noise as you can, as often as you can.
Well, it was the same last night in the two games, Mike. All the noise, good God, I couldn't get over the amount of shouting and roaring coming from the bench to try and influence the referee.
Paul Lambert over to the far side looking for Colin Moore, and they love that diagonal ball, but the Neale alive to it this time. There was a couple of Moran brothers back there. This is Aidan O'Sullivan, and here's Stephen Moran moving across into the space to Porrick Welch. Such a key man for the Neale over the last few seasons, but he's had his role in this championship significantly curtailed by injury. Drives into the tackles. He had Owen McLaughlin and Brian O'Malley hanging out of him, and the Neale get the free.
Yeah, it's a pity they didn't let that play go on, because the Neale had an advantage in that case.
Tommy Conroy spins out of the tackle and he's taken down in full flight. I think it may have been the right leg of Luke Tunney that did the damage. Ben Doyle was, I think, a little bit late getting there.
Yeah, Doyle and Luke Tunney, both of them went into it, but Doyle needs to be very careful, actually.
He's on the yellow.
He's on a yellow card, and a more fastidious referee might have gone and actually kind of had a word with him again and maybe give him a second yellow.
Yeah, absolutely. I say, on limited possession, I have to say Tommy Conroy has been very impressive.
Shawnee Cosgrove, more target practice for the Neale free taker, shooting into the goal where he scored that famous goal in the junior final back in 2012. And he just tops up his personal tally. That's now, I make it 4 points for Shawnee Cosgrove.
Yeah, and it's a credit to them. It's a credit to the Neale. Like they're still in the contest. You know, even though they have been territorially dominated, but they're still in the contest.
So we're into the final minute of normal time. Shawnee Cosgrove lets fly again. It's a dangerous ball. Paddy O'Malley's in. Ball's in the net. And Tommy Conroy has seen Fergal Sweeney get the finish. It's the centre forward Fergal Sweeney. Well, let's take another look. It was a Gary Owen. O'Malley was under it. Fergal Sweeney had all the momentum running in, and Fergal Sweeney fists in the goal that has turned this quarter-final on its head after half an hour.
It was a wonderful attempt at a point by Shawnee Cosgrove. The ball went up into the clouds, but it dropped down very slowly, and fair play to Fergal Sweeney. He read it perfectly, timed it perfectly, and just touched it into the net.
He did really well, absolutely. So we'll see what sort of response we're going to get from Westport now.
We're going to see very quickly by the looks of things. It's Paul Lambert. He's got plenty of options. Back to Colm Moran. Moran faced out, spins, and Colm Moran takes the point. Well, so many attacking options and threats when Westport go forward as John Walker blows the half-time whistle. Just 30 seconds of additional time played. And what a first half we had in the finish. It ended in an absolute welter of excitement. And that goal from Fergal Sweeney, Declan, it's changed everything. It's changed the whole complexion of the game.
Well, it's changed the scoreline, Mike, to state the obvious. But, I'm not sure is it going to be a significant feature at the end of this game, because I think Westport are playing at about 60 or 70%. I think there's a lot more in them. So I think Westport will just be disappointed with the fact that they haven't scored more, Mike. They've played some lovely football. They've been very inventive. They've got 1-7 on the board. They've given away what they would consider to be a soft goal at the end of that half. I think the chat will be they've got to make more, I suppose, headway with their chances that they've gotten, because they've played all the football, but they're still only leading by 2 points.
Declan, just before we break for the ads, let's take a look at that score that we're all talking about, that has certainly set us up nicely for the second half. The goal from the Neale.
Yeah, Martin has already gone through it. Shawnee Cosgrove had a really good attempt for a point. It went way up into the air. Fergus Sweeney was looking at it. He's judged it to perfection. There was no talk whatsoever of a square ball, because he was nowhere near it when the ball was kicked. He kept his eye on the ball, Martin. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. He didn't foul the goalkeeper. He got first to the ball and was a really good finish.
It shows you, actually, is an example of a player with good forward instincts. He might be only a youngster, Fergus Sweeney, I think 18, 19 years of age, but he showed in that case there that the guy has a good nose for a score, and like that ball looked to be going over the bar. Young Sweeney never gave up. He just kept his eye on it, kept his eye on the flight of it, and just touched it effortlessly into the net. That was a very good opportunist score, and vital one actually in the context of the game.
So despite the fact that Westport spent so much time inside the Neale half of the field, and at one stage we're looking very comfortable, 4 points up at one stage, and certainly look to have all the answers. The Neale have struck late here for a goal from Fergal Sweeney, and it means on the scoreboard at the very least this quarter-final is still very much alive. We're going to take a quick commercial break, then we'll have analysis from Declan and Martin. But at half-time here in Castlebar, it's Westport who lead the Neale 1-7 to 1-5.
Chamber of Commerce, we've been operating for nearly 60 years. Our ethos is to be in business for businesses, and we are all about the town, for Ballina, for North Mayo, for the county as well.
It's about the area, it's about what they can do when they get here and if they're safe. And we'll have the same great hospitality that we've always had, the great food, the great custom, because that's what hospitality is.
Lately there we just said to ourselves that look, we're going to start doing takeaways. The famous five, as we call them. You know, the famous five. What are the most popular dishes to use? It's surviving for us. It's working great.
I suppose my role is to try and raise the profile of the area to people outside the area and encourage them to come here on holidays. So I suppose over the last 4 or 5 years we've really been building to get to that point where we can start to put ourselves on the map a little bit more.
Now, if you'd like more information, all you have to do is visit ballina.ie.
Well, our information centre here at Mayo Mental Health Association, we provide a confidential signposting service for persons in the community experiencing mental health difficulties, or if they require advice for members of their family, and we can do that through our directory of services. So please visit our website mayomha.ie and Facebook and check it out and stay tuned in to all news feeds and exciting things our association is involved in.
Mayo Mental Health Association was founded in 1970 at a time when St Mary's Hospital in Castlebar was home to some 1,000 inpatients. Much of the public perception of the mentally ill at that time was of persons to be feared and mistrusted. The doors of our new information centre in the centre of Castlebar are always open as we engage with the public through our social housing, volunteering and schools educational programmes. Thankfully, there now appears to be a greater appreciation of the need for all of us to focus on the importance of maintaining a mentally healthy lifestyle. And I'm delighted to say that Mayo Mental Health Association is the vital link that facilitates this.
Local businesses have been there for Westport GAA when we've needed them.
Whether it's helping with fundraising, sponsoring gear or jerseys for our teams,
providing prizes for raffles and quizzes, or employing club members locally so we can stay, play and enjoy our games.
We are incredibly grateful for all the support we have received. Now more than ever, local businesses need our support to get back on their feet.
That's why we're asking you to shop local and support our local businesses.
Shop local.
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 And you're very welcome back. As you'll have gathered, the half-time breaks are getting shorter and shorter this summer. No dressing rooms means both teams don't leave the environs of the field, and John Walker, like everybody else, keen to get the action restarted, and away we go again. One change on the Westport team at half-time. Number 20, Oisín McLaughlin, as he has been in all the earlier rounds as well. He's been introduced, and it is number 12, Luke Tunney, the player who's made way as the Neale play from left to right in the second half. They're attacking the Albany goal away to our right-hand side, and they are chasing down a 2-point deficit. They're still very much in this contest, and Conroy is on the ball. Tommy Conroy skins Owen McLaughlin.
Great goal.
Great goal from Tommy Conroy. Well, it was quick, it was direct, it was precise, and Conroy once again does what he does best. Great finish.
That's brilliantly taken. A wonderful, wonderful dummy soul, first of all, by Tommy Conroy, having won the ball in difficult circumstances, and just turned his man, then struck it low into the corner of the net. That's great football.
Yeah.
And what a confidence booster.
But he's a top-class footballer, and the more times that they can get the ball to Tommy Conroy, the better it is for the Neale. I see at the start of this second half, Mike, is that Owen McLaughlin has been put on him for a man marking job. It was a one-on-one situation there. He wasn't phased. Tommy Conroy wasn't phased by that man marker, and he burned him. He literally burned him.
And there's another man marking job I think that's worth looking at here, that the Neale have switched Stephen Conroy up the centre half forward on Lee Keegan for the second half.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that develops.
Well, you just wonder how comfortable Owen McLaughlin is and will be in the full back line, man marking Tommy Conroy. Now, we can only assume that's a direct result of Ben Doyle being on a yellow card. They're a little worried, Westport, that Conroy might have Ben Doyle on the back foot, but ironically, as Declan said, he's just taken Owen McLaughlin for the goal, as at the other end, Cillian Kilkelly holds his nerve and steers that free confidently over the bar. And that means we are right back to square one, Declan, level pegging, 1-8 to 2-5, 2 minutes into the second half. And not too many people, I think, would have seen this state of play at this stage of the game.
No, myself included, absolutely. But credit to the Neale and credit where it is justified. They really are playing that well, and they're making some amount of noise in that stand as well.
Cillian Kilkelly, 5 points for Westport's top scorer. Mark Moran turns onto his left and turns away with his head in his hands. That was well wide of the target. And we start thinking again, Martin, don't we, about pressure, and the pressure that's sitting right now very much on Westport's shoulders.
Yeah, that was a good opportunity wasted by Mark Moran that time. Again, he took it on his left foot and put it wide in his own side. And there was support coming off his shoulder. There was other options available to him. And maybe the decision making hasn't been as sharp as we would have expected from them.
Just another switch there that may be of interest to you, gentlemen. I see they're now switched Lee Keegan back onto Tommy Conroy. I think that one was going to happen at some stage. That switch is now being made. I just hope for Westport's sake that it's not too late.
Yeah, but are Westport actually reacting to things a little bit in a panic way? Honestly, I believe myself, they still should have Keegan out in the half back line or around midfield. I think he's wasted back there.
They've obviously made a decision. If they can stop Tommy Conroy, it goes a long way to beating the Neale.
And you'd have to imagine they're not far wrong, as that ball is left right into the lap of Colin Moran, and all he had to do was keep it on target. That is as simple and as effective a move as you will ever come across in Championship football. Moran got out in front of his man. His touch was very, very clean and crisp, and the strike was on the sweet spot, and Westport lead again, 1-9 to 2-5.
Yeah, but let's credit also young Kilkelly with the quality of the pass. It was beautifully flighted, excellent, at an excellent height, wonderfully controlled by who was it again?
It was Colin Moran that got that score, yeah, great score.
Just instinctively put it over the bar.
And funny enough, he had an opportunity to take a mark that time, decided not to, and played on, got his point.
And gets his second point of the day, as that ball is gone too wide for Tommy Conroy's liking. Possession back to Westport. Chance for us to say hello to a couple of people who are tuned in and watching this quarter-final. JP Campbell, Brian O'Malley's grandfather, is watching the match in Westport, and I'm sure enjoying the last few minutes in particular as Westport get back on track. Also watching the game in Cong this Sunday afternoon is Dahi Ryan, who broke his ankle playing with the Neale under-16s during the week. Big fan of the Neale, star of the future, and get well soon, the message from all of Dahi's friends and teammates in the Neale, as across comes Ben Doyle sweeping in front of Fergal Sweeney. Now Keegan chips it nonchalantly out to the far side to Lambert. This is Fionn McDonough. We haven't seen much of Fionn McDonough in this game, capable of so much more, as Mark Moran gets his head up and spots the run inside of Kevin Kane, the Westport goal scorer in the first half. He and Varley are having a battle royal in there on the edge of the square. McDonough pops it out through the side door to Colin Moran off his right. One umpire nods to the other. Spectacular score from Colin Moran, and that was all again about the movement and the combination play of that Westport forward line. Now Westport lead by 2 points again, and once more, Declan, like so many of the scores they manufacture, they engineer very, very easy on the eye.
Yeah, they're good, and their radar is beginning to click into gear a bit now. Here's Lee Keegan on the first one-on-one with Tommy Conroy, and he did well, he dispossessed him, but they're scoring at will, and Colin Moran is having a really good game. I make it, is that 4 points he scored now all from play?
Lee Keegan is the great disruptor in the Westport and Mayo defence, of course, and it was his intervention that sets Kevin Kane eventually onto the ball. Here's Mark Moran, and that is a second Westport goal. Well, that all came from Lee Keegan's intervention down at the other end of the field, and once Westport got moving forward, They always have so many men making runs off the shoulder into the space, and Mark Moran rolls in his first goal of Championship 2020, 2-10-2-5.
Yeah, what you have to admire about Westport is the response to that goal by the Neale. They've come up with a couple of very good scores, a goal and 2 points immediately, but they haven't dropped their heads. They have just continued to play the football they started out with, great combination football, very direct football, and again an incisive, a very, very good finish that time by the two Moran brothers, actually, Mark and Colin Moran, both playing very effectively in that
both of them
attack.
playing really well.
So Colin Moran so far in this game has hit 3 points, and that is now 1-1 for his younger brother Mark. Latest scoreline from the Intermediate Championship quarter-final, it's now Ballinrobe 1-6, Ardnary Sarsfields 5 points. That's a latest scoreline from Island 80. That game also starting at 2 o'clock. Colin Moran out in front of Stephen Moran, and now Colin Moran is starting to get into the groove. It's only a few years ago since he was part of the Mayo senior panel. In fact, started a league game here against Cavan on a particularly dark and dreary Saturday night. But Colin Moran back doing what he does best, and that is now 3 points in this second half for Moran, and it is 4 in total.
Yeah, I think we'll see him in the red and green again in the near future, because he's a real special player. Has spent a lot of 2020 in Australia, came back early, I know, for this championship for Westport, and you can see why. He's a huge player for them.
The Neale have made a change in their defence, that overworked and overstretched defence, and Pádraig McGrath is in to replace Micheál Varley, who was not getting any change out of Kevin Kane. Down at the other end, the Neale go long looking for Holian. He's the target man. Holian bulldozes his way through, off balance, and the shot flies wide.
No, there was a great opportunity there, Mike. If he just held the nerve and just a little bit more composed, he won the ball in difficult circumstances, bulldozed past his man, got it on his left foot, maybe his least favoured foot, but he shot it wide that time when a goal was at his mercy.
Yeah, he shot when he was off balance though, didn't he? He lacked the composure at the very end.
Just looking at matchups, play is stopped right now. Lee Keegan needs attention for what looks like an arm injury. Also, Fionn McDonough is down, just in need of some attention as well. But I'm just watching the matchups down and in the Neale full backline. Pádraig McGrath has gone straight on to Kevin Kane. They've got Stephen Moran still picking up Colin Moran, and that leaves, I think it's Dan Kelly on Killian Kilkelly, as McDonough and Keegan get back to their feet. But interestingly, Fionn McDonough is heading to the sideline in the company of Joe Dawson, the Westport physio. And mention of Fionn McDonough, Declan, for some reason, for one reason or another, he hasn't been himself at all today.
No, he has some sort of an injury. I'm not sure what it was, because he didn't start the last day, and it seems to be hampering, because if you go back a couple of weeks, Mike, we saw him out in Briffy. He was imperious that day with his performance, and he hasn't got to those heights again so far yet this season.
So he's been taken out, and in comes number 10, Pat Lambert. So both sons of the chairman Charlie, Pat and Paul Lambert, are on the field for Westport, who are now cantering along 6 points in front. It has been a very good first 10 minutes of this second half for Westport. Oisin McLaughlin, another of the former Mayo minor under-20s and seniors in their ranks, plays a nice sweet 1-2, and Oisin McLaughlin at his leisure drills over Westport's 12th point. Well, who'd envy that Neale defence, Martin? You think you have all the angles covered, and then another runner comes and another score.
I question one thing. I thought Stephen Conroy was very effective in centre half back in the first half. They've switched up to centre half forward for the second half, and the gaps. I thought he was very effective in closing that central area. But I think they have missed him there, and just Westport at the moment are carving any number of openings through that middle.
They are.
I see Martin Calvey, the Westport manager, has just brought in another of the 2017 All-Ireland winning Westport team. Shane Scott is on as Killian Kilkelly. Too young to feature that day, but he is coming of age in this Westport forward line this summer. Another beautifully taken score. The balance, the skill and the sheer confidence. And I can't help but think, Declan, we spoke to Mark Moran last weekend, and he said we're a confident bunch. We like to express ourselves. Well, I think they're certainly turning it on for the cameras right now.
Yeah, but they do back themselves. They do believe in their own ability, and they have really good forwards and good forward play. But the composure that Killian Kilkelly showed that time, left foot, right foot, doesn't make a difference. Knew exactly what he wanted to do and executed the skill at a really top level.
Well, they've now scored 1-6 in the space of 11 minutes, Westport. 1-5 of that has come from open play as the Neale finally managed to hit back. That's Fergal Sweeney that scores from this right wing. But is it too little too late, because they've given Westport a big head start in this third quarter?
It is like just 11 minutes gone. I mean, there's at this stage a 7-point gap. But that score again was worth the entrance money alone. Like, lovely work between Conroy and Fergal Sweeney. Conroy got out in front of Lee Keegan, unselfishly give it to Sweeney, and Sweeney sliced it over the bar with his left foot. Great score.
There's been some fantastic scores from both teams here today, Martin. Yeah.
Looks like there could be another one coming here as Brian McDermott goes forward. Now Colin Moran, lovely dummy solo bought by Stephen Moran. Inside to O'Malley again. And Brian O'Malley cannot believe he didn't hit the target from there. But again, there were runners queuing up on his inside. Any amount of options. And the Neale right now on the ropes. 12 minutes into the second half.
They'll be disappointed in that, actually, because that time Kevin Kane was standing outside waiting for the pass to be given out to him. A goal was at his mercy, and that's one of the issues I think that Westport will take from today's game. Do you remember, Mike, early in the first half they missed an awful lot? Now when they're on top again, they're not maybe converting it into the scores that they should be, and their decision making at times has let them down.
The longer this second half goes on, the more the thoughts start to turn to that prospect of a rematch between Westport and Brafey next weekend. Remember, they met in the group stages last month. Westport running out narrow winners in Brafey, and they also met here in a quarter final a few years ago when Brafey came out on top again with not a whole pile to spare, if memory serves me correct. But still, 17 minutes plus to play here in Castlebar. We know the Neale will keep on keeping on. We know they will keep plugging away. But right now, they have got a job of work in their hands. 7 points down, and the ball in the hands of Shawnee Cosgrove. One option, that's Rob Holian on the edge of the square. Out comes Paddy O'Malley, not the most convincing of clearances. Holian lays it back to Sweeney, their first half goal scorer. Ball runs to Tommy Conroy. 4 Westport defenders sucked in to challenge him. Brian O'Halloran, very neat and tidy solo. Not quite sure how he managed to extricate himself from that corner, but he did. Pádraig Welch, quick hands to Dara Moran, and the big Neale number 9 gets what he came for, takes the point.
Yeah, good score that time. He was right through the middle and he kicked it, I suppose, at crossbar height, knew what he wanted to do, executed it well. So the Neale are keeping in the game. In fairness to him, they deserve a lot of credit. 2-13 to 2-7, 6 points in it, and they're not dying away and they're not giving up.
Paddy O'Malley's kick out just sits on top of Shane Scott. Nobody there from the Neale to get a hand on him. Scott plays it forward to Oisin McLaughlin, who just moves up through the gears, and that is as good as it gets from Westport. 2 kicks of the ball, O'Malley to Scott, Scott to McLaughlin. Chalk it down.
Simplicity in essence that time. Kick out, well fielded, just move the ball into McLaughlin, just turned up, kicked it over the bar. Just two possessions outfield in the score. Beautiful.
I'm not sure why Oisin McLaughlin is not starting on this team, Mike. I don't know. Maybe it's an impact sub. Maybe they wanted to save something for the second half. But every time he comes on, he does well. He's got 2 points got in this game so far. He's made a real difference. He looks to be a player on top of his game at the moment.
Well, it's not that long ago he was very much part of James Horan's Mayo squad, and as you said, right now being used as an impact sub by Martin Calvey and company in the Westport management. This is Scott again. He's a traditional old school midfielder and he's still going, and that's a brilliant save by Keith Henley to deny Scott a third Westport goal. Well, Shane Scott just rumbled his way through there. Not quite sure if he knew how he was still going, because the Neale defence just parted right in front of him, and it was a good shot and a fine save.
He kind of ambled his way forward, and the ball he lost, it came back to him, and then he got it. But what a save from Henley. The shot was good. It was right down on the keeper's left-hand side in the bottom corner. He had to go full length, and he had to get down to the ground to save it, and he got a good strong hand in it. Great save by the keeper.
Well, Conroy there beating Keegan in a foot race, but Robert Holian unable to do likewise with Rory Brickenden, as John Walker, I think, blows for the second half water break. Chance for both teams and everybody else as well to catch their breath. It is a 7-point lead for Westport. They were 2 in front at half time. They have built on that advantage during the third quarter, and it's enjoyable stuff, Declan. But Westport at this stage now keeping the Neale at arm's length, and you just get the sense the damage done in the first 10 minutes of this second half.
Yeah, but don't forget the first score at the start of this second half was the Tommy Conroy goal. It's Westport that really, I suppose, reacted very well to that, and they've done like we've all thought they'd do. They'd kick on and they'll score. They're 2-14, they've created so many chances. They really are a lovely team to watch. They play a lovely, impressive style of football. The way they can move it through the hands and particularly through the feet. They have an exceptionally good, talented full forward line in there that are winning the ball, and the range of scores they can take from all over the pitch is hugely impressive. What they'll be disappointed with at the moment is that they've left the Neale in the game at this juncture, heading into the fourth quarter, because they should have been put to bed. But the Neale deserve credit, and to their immense credit, they haven't given up or anything like that. And with Tommy Conroy lurking around, there's always a danger. But I think it's a smart move putting Lee Keegan on him. I'll be honest with you. I know Martin was saying that maybe Lee Keegan would be better up the pitch. He's still going to attack from full back, but he'll cover Tommy Conroy as well. I've already remarked to Martin and myself and yourself had a conversation about how fresh Lee Keegan looks. He really is controlling the game from that half back line and full back line. He's a huge player for Westport.
Yeah, you have to admire to the pace and the power and the combination plays, Mike, of Westport. I think the combination up front is particularly impressive. I love the way Killian Kilkenny, for example, plays. He's a very, very light player, physically not as kind of maybe robust as maybe he would like to be, but by God can he make up for that with the inventiveness he has in his play and with the way he can bring others into it. And he's very much responsible for a lot of the cohesiveness that's up front. But the two guys that have caught my eye also will be Mark Moran and Colin Moran. They've had an excellent first quarter or third quarter there, and like Keegan is marshalling the team very well at the back. I think now the fact that he has gone back and Tommy Conroy has kind of maybe utilised the threat that Conroy brought to the game. But at the same time, my preference would be still to see him further up the field.
I have the full forward line for Westport down for 111 out of 214. It just shows you the damage. Kevin Kane has got the goal, and Kilkelly and Cullimore have got 11 points between them.
Just hearing Neale manager Owen Hughes and his selectors Paul Higgins and Peter O'Malley, they've made another change during the water break. Adam Flynn, number 24, is in to replace David Moran. And Declan, mention of Owen Hughes, if you were in his position right now, 7 points down, 15 minutes to go, what's the instructions, or what can you do differently to try and give yourself some sort of a chance of getting back into this?
I thought you said you weren't going to ask me any hard questions today, Mike. There isn't an awful lot you can do except credit the players that you have on the pitch. I'm not sure about his strength and depth and what the subs can do. If he has people that he believes in, he should get them on the pitch because their legs are going to get tired. But they're just going to have to keep playing, keep plugging away, try to get the ball to Tommy Conroy as often as possible, and maybe nick a goal to get them back into it.
Now we know why Declan is on the big money. Darragh Moran all the way across to Daniel Kane, but Daniel Kane has got the speed merchant that is Pat Lambert for company, and remember he's not that long on the field, so he's mad for road, and Lambert wins the ball back for Westport, and they will come again through Keegan. Just some strapping on that left wrist. That's a legacy of a knock he picked up a little earlier in the second half. Westport will hope it's nothing but a graze as Kevin Kane goes roaming far and wide and pulls the Neale full back with him. This is Kilkelly back to Brian McDermott, and this in place of Owen McLaughlin. Here he goes up, joining the attack again. Keegan just outside the D, turns away, not happy, and Keith Henley sensibly keeps it in play. Latest scoreline from Islandnady, it is now Ballinrobe 1-9, Ardnaree 9 points, so it's going to be a big last quarter there as well. As Stephen Moran gallops forward for the Neale, Tommy Conroy drifts out the field to try and get some time and space, but not a whole lot of it, as across came Brian O'Malley to challenge.
I think Colin Moran is going to be getting a yellow card here.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, the referee wants a word with him, all right. Colin Moran was back doing a shift in defence, and a quick word for Tommy Conroy. They would know each other well from Mayo squads over the last few years, and it is a yellow for Colin Moran. As a change on the Westport team, Niall McManaman, who is a specialist man marker corner back, he's in to replace Ben Doyle, who, considering he got the yellow, Declan, and maybe a word in his ear as well early in the first half. Ben Doyle did quite well to last as long as he did.
He did, but he had to change the way he played, Mike, and he wasn't as aggressive, and maybe that takes away from his game, but they got him off the pitch in case that yellow turns into a second one. I think a shrewd move by the Westport management.
We're in the 19th minute of the second half, and Oisin McLaughlin is moving forward. Just spins that into the centre for Colm Moran. Now Keegan again charging forward from defence. Kilkelly options left, right and behind him. Kilkelly goes for his own score, and Hennelly, safe as houses, once again under the dropping ball. Hennelly moves it out as far as Pádraig Welch, and you can hear Hennelly urging everybody to get forward and support the ball carrier as Welch goes by Scott and Colm Moran. One man up top, of course, that's Conroy. Sweeney was trying his best to get free as well, but just couldn't manage it, and Owen McLaughlin, freed from the man marking duties, can shovel it out as far as Pat Lambert on that far side. Lambert, he can sense the defender coming behind him, shoots on sight, and that is another wide for Westport. And when you talk about things they'll need to do, Martin, or tighten up on in the next 6-7 days, their shooting would be one of those things. 2-14 is not bad going, but they've left so many more behind.
Well, they've left so many more, but I reckon they have 7 or 8 wides, but it's the number of balls that they put into the goalkeeper's hands, in particular in the first half, that they'll be disappointed with. But the guy that has really impressed me for Westport today has been the full forward Cillian Kilkelly. Anytime he's got the ball, he is so inventive and he's so composed, and he's a great capacity to bring others into play. And if they could get the ball more to him, I think he can really open up gaps for others to exploit.
That kick out has not gone to plan for the Neale, and Mark Moran lashes it high and over the bar. Well, that time the Neale only had themselves to blame. They went short with the kick out, as we saw on a number of occasions in last night's quarter-finals. They're great when they work, but when they break down, they pose serious issues for the defence. And Mark Moran there, nobody able to hold him up or keep him out, and it's now 2-15 to 2-7 as Martin Calvey bolsters that Westport forward line. He's taken out Kevin Kane. He'll be wrapped in cotton wool, you'd imagine, for the next week or so. And this man, Alan Kennedy, is into the Westport forward line. But Kennedy and McLaughlin unable to link. But when you see the calibre of player, Declan, that Westport can bring in and introduce, even at this relatively late stage, it just underlines the depth of a squad that Calvey has at his disposal.
Yeah, and it bodes well for the future, for this year in particular, as well for the rest of this championship. Like, in order to go and win the ultimate prize and get to a county title, you will certainly need 20, 21, 22 players. Westport have them, and they don't lack any quality when they run their bench, and subs make an impact, which is what you're always looking for from a management point of view.
Oisin McLaughlin, Colm Moran trying to sneak in around the back, but good defending by Stephen Moran, backed up by Pádraig McGrath, and Tommy Conroy will take it clear. Don't forget, another senior quarter final coming up live on Mayo GAA TV here at 4 o'clock. That is the meeting of Ballina, Stephenites and Ahamore, as we wait to find out who will be the fourth and final senior semi-finalist. Robert Holian had it, lost it, and in came Brian O'Malley to pick up the pieces and move it clear again. As well as that quarter-final, by the way, you can also watch our exclusive interviews with Mayo manager James Horan and former All-Star Brendan Harrison coming up a little bit later on this afternoon. 2-15 to Westport, 2-7 to the Neale, and Westport just in the process here of getting through the next 8 minutes in one piece, as Colm Moran has another go and Colm Moran has another score. Well, week after week,
the referee, the umpire doesn't know. The linesman has it spotted. Linesman has the flag up. I think the linesman is going to give that as a score. The umpire went to wave the hands, stopped mid-wave. Is never a good sign.
No, that was a point. Yeah, we'll see the replay of it now. Yeah, definitely a point as far as I'm concerned. We're right in line with the strike, actually. And,
I think the linesman has a call. It is a point. We were right behind that kick. It was a point, and it was a really top quality point.
That's another one for Colm Moran, and I think really it was just a matter there of the linesman Marcin Flannery from Ballycastle having a quick word with John Walker, and the North Mayo lads sorted it out fairly
and
quickly.
in fairness to him, that's good officiating, and we should mention that as well. The linesman knew there was a mistake made, put the flag up, and John Walker corrected that mistake. We can all make mistakes, there's no problem. Once you can learn from them and fix them up, that's fine.
That is now 5 points from play for Colmmoran. Westport, or the Neale rather, have just brought in Matthew Murphy as Westport carry on relentlessly. It's Owen McLaughlin, and the Westport tally is now up to 2 goals and 17 points. Well, it is raining scores now in this second half. And as we said, if they had tightened up on their shooting a little more, we would have a hurling scoreline at this stage for Westport. But as it is, 10 points to the good. And the Neale just struggling to cope with the runners and the pace and the power. And around the middle of the field as well now, Westport have completely taken over.
Just a stranglehold around the middle of the field at the moment. And the ball is liberally going into the Westport forward line. Young Moore and Colm, who's on it at the moment, has been outstanding. Their kick passing is outstanding.
Mark Moran palming it off the bar and denied a third Westport goal by a lick of paint there, Mark Moran.
Yeah, and again, the guy involved in that was young Kilkelly.
There was three of them involved. Kennedy,
very,
Kilkelly and Moran.
He's a guy you might never hear of maybe, at Intercounty because of the lack of sight. But
he could get a goal here, I think. Yeah, he's just finished with a goal, Killian Kilkelly. He's a super player, isn't he?
He's absolutely outstanding. He's the one guy that has caught my eye more than anybody else. You can talk about Keegan, you can talk about McLaughlin. This guy's simple. His ball skills are exceptional. His vision is exceptional.
And I think his awareness, we have to, because he knows exactly where he is on the pitch and where the people around him are. Yeah. And his display of passes, he's drifted out to the half-forward line in the 40 in the last 10 minutes, and he is spraying balls left and right into the Westport men.
And is he getting booked now unnecessarily? He'd be the third Westport player to be booked unnecessarily.
Yeah, I don't know what that's for. I didn't see it.
I didn't see it now.
Well, that is 1-6, by the way, for Killian Kilkelly. Man of the match last weekend against Castlebar Mitchells, or certainly one of them. There were a handful of Westport players in the running for man of the match in that particular win. Another Westport win, of course. 2 wins and a draw. That was good enough to get them to this stage of the competition. And as the scoreline will tell you, they have justified their raging hot favourites odds of 1-10 coming into this game. We wondered, especially when Fergal Sweeney scored that late first half goal, just how Westport would react to the pressure. Well, they have given an emphatic answer as the second half has gone on. 4 minutes of normal time left. Westport sitting very comfortably on a 13-point advantage. And the Neale, who have learnt an awful lot from this experience of a first season in the senior championship, still trying to engineer something that would take the lopsided look off that final scoreline. It's Holian on the edge of the square who has won it, and John Walker is given a penalty, I think.
Well, John Walker has been told what to do that time by Holian. He ran over to the spot. I thought, to be honest with you, he was outside the large rectangle. But
I think as soft penalties go, it's up there with any of the ones I've ever seen. Yeah. I can't see how that was a penalty.
So Tommy Conroy, saved by Paddy O'Malley, and the rebound saved, and Holian gets his goal. Well, Robert Holian will have something to shorten the journey, perhaps back to Cross this evening. He has a goal in a senior championship quarter-final. Conroy denied twice by Paddy O'Malley. That's something for him to tell his grandkids about as well. And Holian gets the goal that leaves us with a 10-point game. But would you be as dubious, Martin Carney, about the award of the penalty as Declan was?
Indeed I would. I think Holian made sure that he went straight to the penalty spot. He wasn't giving the referee any option but to award the penalty.
Here he is again, Robert Holian. Gets those 2 giant paws up into the air, back as far as the Neale substitute Dylan Kane, who was going for goal. He scored 2 already in the championship, as Holian and O'Malley, 2 big units, collide on the edge of the square, and eventually it's a free out to Westport. Well, Robert Holian has played quite a bit of rugby with Ballinrobe over the years. That probably won't come as a major surprise to anybody who watched him crash into the Westport goalkeeper there, Paddy O'Malley.
Yeah, he hit the ground with quite a belt, I tell you. You could hear the rumble up here in the commentary area. But going back quickly to Westport, there's so many threats and so many positions in the field. They will cause Brafey huge amount of trouble next weekend.
Well, I'm sure that is music to the ears of Peter Ford, Shane Conway and all the other Brafey lads who are watching in this afternoon as Keegan leaves it short. And just curious, Declan, as a former Brafey manager, what have the Brafey lads made of what they've seen, do you think, in the last hour or so?
I see the present Brafey management are behind us watching the match, so they must have got dispensation to get in here. I'll tell you one thing about Brafey and Westport. Both teams will believe 100% that they're going to win it. Yeah.
And I was at the opening game out in Brafey. It was a fantastic game of football, and it was an early onslaught that day, Mike, by Westport. They scored a goal and 2 points in the opening 6 or 7 minutes of that game.
That's right.
I think that's ultimately what decided it.
It was, yeah. They went 6 points up, and Brafey finished with 6 points in a row, and Tommy Riley then had a free to level it. Sorry, there were 7 points in it at the very, very end. Very, very little between the two teams.
That's
it has
right.
the makings of a cracking game.
It'll be a cracking game next weekend. In fact, if Ballina win the next game against Auchamore, we're guaranteed 2 wonderful games next weekend.
Free for Tommy Conroy, point for the Neale. And in terms of planning for 2021, which I'm sure, knowing the Neale lads, will start very soon, Martin, Tommy Conroy's form, his contribution, his potential will give them huge cause for optimism heading into next season's championship.
Oh, absolutely. He's a dinger, and I mean, his sense of what's possible when he gets the ball is what impresses me. He drives straight at goals every time he gets it. His finishing that we saw an example of today is top class. But the Neale, if they are to make the progress we'd love to see them make, need to get a greater spread of scorers in their forward line. They're a little bit maybe too dependent on Tommy. We noticed when he was marked by Keegan there in the second half, and when he drifted far from goals, the threat up front wasn't that considerable.
Shane Scott bounces off Dan Kelly. Back to Colm Moran, and Colm Moran now is just filling his boots in this second half, and John Walker,
That's
I think,
his 7 point.
is happy enough to blow it up at this stage. No major need for any huge chunks of injury time or stoppage time. It was over as a contest earlier in this second half. It's finished in a 10 points win for Westport, 3-18 to 3 goals and 8, and the Neale full value for that victory. So it will be Brafey and Westport, a rematch between the West Mayo rivals again next weekend in the county semi-final. And Martin, that is one certainly to look forward to.
It was a mouth-watering game and prospect there, Mike. And in fairness, both teams are there in merit. I was hugely impressed this afternoon by Westport. I thought, as I said to you in commentary, they have so many threats in their forward line. Today, we saw Mark Moore and we said Colm Moore at their best. But Kevin Kane also, that early goal that he got and his ability to win the ball is a very, very big factor in their team. But the boy that really, really impressed me today was Cillian Kilkelly. I thought there's so much to his play. There's so much natural ability with the lad. There's so much awareness on the guy's part anytime he gets the ball. And again, his awareness of others around him is what really impresses me. Now, he's not a particularly big lad or anything, but there's no doubt about it. In that full forward line, Westport carry threats that Brafey might find difficult to kind of counteract, because at the moment Brafey have lost quite a number of good players in that area. And last night we saw early in the match in particular when Ballahadreen were at their strongest, that the Brafey full backline struggled on numerous occasions. So that will be the area next weekend that Westport will try and exploit. They will try and get ball quickly to their full forward line, recognising that maybe Brafey may have a kink in their armour there. So that's something that overall it's the prospect of a wonderful match. But I think that forward line that Westport have is something to really, really, really be optimistic about.
Certainly a lot to savour, a lot to look forward to as well ahead of that semi-final next weekend. So just to recap, 7 points for Colm Moran, 1-6 for Cillian Kilkelly, and a goal for Kevin Kane. Not a bad haul from the Westport full forward line as they head to a county semi-final. Westport 3-18, the Neale 3-8.
Mike, thank you very much indeed, and Mike Finnerty will be back with us shortly, of course, because we have that second game coming up at 4 o'clock between Ballina and Auchamore. More about that in just a few moments. Declan, I suppose the final result is what we expected at the beginning of the day, but the Neale certainly, and it's not to be patronising as you said earlier, because we don't want to do that, but they've acquitted themselves very well in the senior quarter-final today.
Yeah, they have. They did quite well. I think they were just simply bet by a better team. I think Westport are further down the tracks in terms of their development than the Neale are. This is the Neale's first year at senior football. Westport have been here a couple of years and are pushing on. The Neale have done as well as they could have done. I think when they sit back and they review their season, they'll be quite happy. When they go through this match, they'll see that they come up against a really good and up-and-coming Westport team. They didn't give up. Tommy Conroy in particular and Shawnee Cosgrove were front with their scoring threats. I presume that James Horn is here today. He'll be very happy with Tommy Conroy's contribution and the way he's playing. But the Neale did very, very well. Westport were just a better team than them today. Simple as that. Sometimes the better team just wins.
Right, Martin, give me your assessment. I know you were wrapping up with Mike there and some of the performances, but for Westport going into a semi-final now, will they be happy with what they did today? But there are some elements to work on, aren't there?
Oh, there are elements to work on. I thought overall, they fully deserved the victory. Let's let's get that out of the way first of all. They were by far the better team as the game went on. They play quality football. They play beautiful, direct, simple football, and they have great combinations up on their forward line. The awareness of young Kilkelly, I'm really impressed by him today, and the two Moran lads, Colin and Mark, they were very impressive. Keegan today looked as sharp and as mobile as I've seen him in a long time. He looked very good, and he was able to marshal the defence and inspire them early on in the second half. Maybe when things weren't going too well. And I think, as Declan said earlier, the switch into the full back line to mark the threat of Tommy Conroy actually was a decisive one on the part of Westport. But it's their forward play. The forward play of young Kilkelly and the Morans are the things that really caught my eye, and they fully deserve their win. I was trying to use two mics there at once.
Yeah, no, that's okay, Martin, because I thought we were losing what you were saying at one stage, so apologies. That's why I grabbed it from you. Just give me 1 second, lads, and I'll be back to you. I don't want to hold these guys too long. Listen, Martin, well done. Congratulations on the victory. Delighted, I'm sure, you're in a semi-final in the last four.
Absolutely, thanks very much. Look, quarter-final, it was there you had to go out and win it. And the lads done that today. Simple as that. So we're looking forward to the semi-final again, Brafey.
Absolutely. I mean, look, there was a lot made of the fact that you were red-hot favourites going into this against last year's intermediate champions. But as you said, that sometimes it can be more of a hindrance than a help ahead of a last 8 game.
Absolutely. Look, it's championship football, 15 against 15 on the day. Anything can happen. So, thankfully we got over the line. There's lots of little things we can improve on. Lots of things went well, but fair play to the lads. We got over the line today. We're in a semi-final.
And that's the point I was just making to Martin. Isn't it better that you're going into a semi-final where you have things that you can say, okay, we need to improve on those against a team of the experience of Brafey in a semi-final?
Absolutely. As I say, we won't fear Brafey in any way, shape or form. You'd have to have respect for the Neale. The Neale put in a right good shift today. They scored, I don't know, was it 3? I actually don't know what the Neale scored now. So we're through to the semi-final, and that's what we're looking forward to now.
Absolutely. Kevin, congratulations. Seeing you in a different role today for the first time myself. I know it's something you've been doing this season. How are you finding it?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a new focus, I suppose. It's seeing the game from a different place and a different viewpoint. So it's enjoyable. Do you know what I mean? I've plenty of young, energetic boys around me, so it does help all the same.
You're doing okay up there?
Not too bad, not too bad. If I can bring some bit of experience to it and even a bit of wall building ability and stuff like that, if that's all I can do, it'll help the team. That's all I'm happy to do. So.
At the beginning of the season, this is where you'd have wanted to have been, isn't it? As Martin said, you won't fear Brafey. You're going into a last four. This is the dream for all the clubs that are left.
That's it, exactly. I don't know. I can't even remember when the last time Westport were in a county semi-final. I think the last final round was 91, which is over 20 years ago. So it's a big step. Even for myself, I've never been in a county semi-final. For this group, none of them have. So because a lot of them have only migrated out of underage juvenile level. So it's a big scalp for us. We came here today. We knew that Neale gives a stern test. Obviously intermediate champions last year. We were probably Fravis tag was on our back today. It's always a tricky place to be. So we had to come in here and we respected Neale and we knew what they were going to bring to the game, and we knew we had to get a performance ourselves. And albeit in patches, I think we showed that today. But overall, there was still plenty to go away and work on for next week.
Did you see Brafey last night?
I watched a bit of it, yeah. Look, we had we played them a few weeks ago, and we had a good tussle out in Brafey, and thankfully we came away with the 1 point victory. But that means absolutely nothing. It's knockout football next week, it's do or die kind of stuff. And as Martin said, we don't fear them, they don't fear us. It's just going to be a game that we're going to relish, and I look forward to this week coming up.
Well, I'd say you do, lads. Thanks so much for joining us, Martin Calvey, Kevin Kane. Congratulations once again into the last four. Look, Declan, the lads said they're sometimes, being a favourite coming into a game like this is a tough tag to bear, but they've gotten through it and they won't fear Brafey.
They won't, but I'll be honest with you, I think they're happy that the likes of Castlebar, Mitchells and Ballintubber are now gone out of it. And Westport are certainly 100% there on merit, but it's getting over the line that's going to be the big test for them. They've already beaten Brafey, one of the so-called top four in Mayo over the last 5 or 6 years, but they got nervous in that match. They also got nervous against Castlebar Mitchells last week. They left Mitchells with a 4-point gap for about 10 minutes when Mitchells weren't able to close that gap. So that's something that they'll have to watch out for, but it's going to be an intriguing contest next week.
It is, Martin. I know that Declan is joining us for the next game. Give me a 30-second synopsis of how you think Ballina-Hamore is going to go for us.
Well, the Ballina-Hamore game, I expect Ballina to win it. I think they're on a mission this year. When you think about it, it's 13 years since Ballina have won a county title. Now, that's a long gap for Ballina. I think the longest gap they ever had was between maybe 1966 and 85, which was a 19-year gap, I think. And they will be mad to win it. Now, they have a very, very, very good attack. They have Swanee O'Hora actually to really kind of inspire them at the back, and I would expect them to win it well.
Okay, well listen, Martin and Declan, thank you both very much. We have Ballina and Hamore to come here on Mayo GAA TV, a 4 o'clock throw-in. Remember, before that we'll be speaking to Mayo manager James Horan and Brendan Harrison. Rejoin us very soon.
Chamber of Commerce, we've been operating for nearly 60 years. Our ethos is to be in business for businesses, and we are all about the town for Ballina, for North Mayo, for the county as well.
It's about the area, it's about what they can do when they get here and if they're safe. And we'll have the same great hospitality that we've always had, the great food, the great custom, because that's what hospitality is.
Lately there we just said to ourselves that look, we're going to start doing takeaways. The famous five, as we call them. You know, the famous five. What are the most popular dishes to use? It's surviving for us. It's working great.
I suppose my role is to try and raise the profile of the area to people outside the area and encourage them to come here on holidays. So I suppose over the last 4 or 5 years we've really been building to get to that point where we can start to put ourselves on the map a little bit more.
If you'd like more information, all you have to do is visit ballina.ie.
Well, our information centre here at Mayo Mental Health Association, we provide a confidential signposting service for persons in the community experiencing mental health difficulties, or if they require advice for members of their family, and we can do that through our directory of services. So please visit our website mayomha.ie and Facebook and check it out and stay tuned in to all news feeds and exciting things our association is involved in.
The Mental Health Association was founded in 1970 at a time when St Mary's Hospital in Castlebar was home to some 1,000 inpatients. Much of the public perception of the mentally ill at that time was of persons to be feared and mistrusted. The doors of our new information centre in the centre of Castlebar are always open as we engage with the public through our social housing, volunteering and schools educational programmes. Thankfully, there now appears to be a greater appreciation of the need for all of us to focus on the importance of maintaining a mentally healthy lifestyle. And I'm delighted to say that Mayo Mental Health Association is the vital link that facilitates this.
Local businesses have been there for Westport GAA when we've needed them.
Whether it's helping with fundraising,
Sponsoring gear or jerseys for our teams.
providing prizes for raffles and quizzes, or employing club members locally so we can stay, play and enjoy our games. We are incredibly grateful for all the support we have received.
Now more than ever, local businesses need our support to get back on their feet.
That's why we're asking you to shop local and support our local businesses.
Shop local.
Shop local.
Shop local.
Shop local. Shop local. Shop local.
Shop local.
Shop local.